A pretty landscape to delight the poet's eye, or inspire some artist to take brush to canvas? Actually, it's a factory. That's what it is. A factory for food, feed, and fiber, where every growing season calls for a considerable investment of time and toil and money. It's a factory where modern, mechanized tools magnify man's human efforts to plow, and then to plant the seed, which will draw from Mother Nature still other raw materials to create the final product. To be sure, Mother Nature has not always been easy to work with, a real personnel problem in a factory of this sort. But today's farmers have learned how to cope with her, learned how to check her flooding tears. Learned how to bring rich moisture back to her cracked, dry skin. And learned to curb or cure her illnesses. But regardless of the factors that bring a crop to maturity, now comes the moment of truth, a time of reckoning, when the utmost value must be recovered on all the past investment, a time when the factory manager, the farmer, is deeply concerned with this business of gleaning. In this business of gleaning, time imposes even greater demands than during the plowing and the planting. To harvest when the crop is ripe is like striking while the iron is hot. Machines that cut and separate the grain must be dependable, must get the most grain in the least amount of time. Any time that's lost for breakdown and repair. Any time required for adjustments. And all the time for necessary maintenance. Each minute, hour, or day of idle machine time means that much less time for harvesting during the period when harvesting should be done. And since every tiny seed that's gleaned is some small portion of the gross return, the farmer businessman desires to minimize all losses from the process. No doubt about it. An efficient machine is vital in this business of gleaning. For today, one machine must do what many men once did. In ancient times, the sickle was the only tool man had for harvesting in the field. And 5,000 years of history saw only a lengthening of the handle and the addition of a frame to form the cradle. Even the separation of the grain from stalks was done with flails. And the grain was later separated from the chaff by winnowing, by tossing the threshed material into the air so that the wind carried away the chaff while the grain fell to the ground. Then, man's inventive mind took up the challenge and used horses to power crude machines such as this reaper. The horse or horses pulled or pushed. Or were used to power treadmills. Or walked in endless circles to furnish power through a sweep. And for more power, horses and mules were employed to draw this West Coast combine, for example, in successful commercial production in the year 1880. But the days of the horses and mules were numbered. The birth of the gasoline engine started a revolution in all sorts of powered equipment, including implements for the farm. There came a revolution, too, in the method of invention and development. Where in the past, machines were often built by individuals and saw use only locally, now manufacturers began to use more scientific methods for design and production. So that today, the challenge of the harvest is met with machines produced by manufacturers of the most progressive type. In the engineering department of a modern farm equipment plant, the designers are continually asking themselves a series of questions. When developing a combine, for example, they ask, what are the farmer's needs and requirements today and tomorrow? Will it do a better job of grain recovery? Will it use power more efficiently, requiring less horsepower hours per acre? Is there a stronger, lighter, or better wearing material available to minimize service, maintenance, and repair? And so, the system and design evolve, retaining proven basic concepts, modified and improved as experience and new material dictate. A machine to cut it, feed it, thresh it, agitate it, separate the majority of grain from the straw, give it a rough ride on the walkers to glean the remaining grain, blow air through material before it gets to the shoe to pre-clean the grain, finish clean it with more air as it travels over the shoe, and deliver the clean grain to the bin. How well does the machine do this job? Cutaway artwork is certainly no test, but a cutaway prototype is. And high-speed photography will slow the motion down to show exactly how the system functions. The down front cylinder permits control of the feeding and the threshing, and with cylinder bars moving at mile-a-minute speeds, the kernels seem to float from the heads. A wing-type beater stirs the crop and delivers it to the rattle of the front separator. Here, the straw is kept in suspension by the wind blast from the beater and the cylinder. A majority of the separation takes place at the rattle, where clean grain falls through the suspended straw and is conveyed to the cleaning shoe. A second beater agitates the straw again as it flows from the rattle area to the rear separator, where the separating job is completed by the rotary straw walkers. The grain from the two separation areas, having been pre-cleaned by the upper fan, is directed to the front of the cleaning shoe, where another fan directs a controlled volume of air to the chaffer and sieve for finish cleaning. And thus, the system delivers more and cleaner grain to the bin. Satisfied that the machine performs to high standard of threshing quality, the engineers now finalize the design, checking and double-checking structural elements for necessary size and strength to withstand operating stresses. In modern plants, computers assume the tedium of exhaustive calculations. To free the scientific mind for more creative activity, by providing answers within minutes instead of weeks. Still, management needs further proof that the machine is really the best to help the farmer reap the greatest value from his crops. And so, another prototype is built and tested in the field. Using the most modern electronic equipment to measure and record the stresses of heavy crops and rough ground on the combine's working parts, the engineers verify the reserve strength built in to handle heavy yields that become greater year by year. Now, quantity manufacturing of a quality machine can begin. Strength is built in from the start with the most rigid frame. The solid welded construction will hold shafts, bearings, sprockets, and chains in perfect alignment throughout years of torturous operation. And a modern farm machine tool starts to take shape. The steering axle must be exceptionally rugged to take the strain of working over rough ground. All parts are manufactured to assure smooth performance and long life. A straw walker crankshaft is held within the same close tolerances as are required for tractor engines. Many of the bearing surfaces are induction hardened. These spindle spacers, for example. Heavy rotating parts are balanced for smooth operation, thus assuring long life of bearings, belts, and chains. Sheet metal parts are formed and fabricated with no less care. These are for the straw walker. Wearing surfaces, such as this on the main clutch shaft, are precisely machined and finished on a circle grinder. Modern farm equipment manufacturers design and build their own engines to be sure they will perform and take the punishment when powering this kind of equipment. The grain bin is designed to match the capacity of the other components. The cylinder, the heart of a threshing action, like other heavy rotating parts, is balanced carefully to assure smooth operation at all speeds. And the thresher section of the machine nears completion. The header auger is manufactured with equal attention to quality of method and material. After the header assembly is completed, a run-in check is made to make sure the unit operates smoothly and the sickle is in proper register. Truly, this is a machine tool designed and built to work its heart out at the agricultural factory of the farmer. When final assembly is completed, These machines stand ready to harvest any crop of grain in any part of the world. And although all are basically the same, they are manufactured in different sizes for different production requirements. And some models are especially modified to accommodate particular conditions. But even the smallest is a giant in the field, cutting up to a 13-foot swath if desired, in small grain or large. With a versatile tool like this, the manager of a factory for crops can process a variety of product and eliminate the cost of specialized machinery standing idle, whether the harvest is from a standing growth or from windrows. A quick and easy conversion keeps the machine at work with a minimum of changeover time. Another quick conversion, and the machine becomes a corn harvester, shelling the corn as it goes along, for a higher production rate of threshed acres per hour. Here is the flagship of this fleet of combines, praised the world over for its dependability, versatility, and efficient performance. It is equipped with 10 to 16-foot headers, and like the smaller model, can be adapted for windrow pickup, or fitted with a 2 or 3-row corn head. But the giant of the harvest is this huge machine that enables the owners of the vast wheat factories to combine a 24-foot wide path through the field, or with a 4-row corn head to deliver bin after bin of golden kernels to the waiting trucks. This model is a hillside special. The main frame and threshing system remain level and hugging the hillside, while the wheels and header adapt to the slope. Another special adaptation of this vital farm machine tool is the Rice Special, built to provide plenty of flotation and traction, and with plenty of husky strength to withstand the rugged conditions of the rice fields, and with that added plus of top efficiency combining. Because they save more of the grain in any crop. These are machines designed and built to meet the critical harvesting needs of today. 10 years from now, or even 50 years, owners of these factories for crops can rest assured that the most capable machine will be available. A machine that will glean the greatest possible return from the investment in a crop. A versatile tool built for the modern, progressive farmer by a modern, progressive equipment manufacturer. A farm machine tool created specifically for this business of gleaning.